Indiana Fever lose to a young Washington Mystics team, 83-77. Look lost without Caitlin Clark.
I'll say it. Fire Stephanie White. Oh boy. Oh boy.
The Indiana Fever just got exposed in the most brutal way possible. Without Caitlin Clark on the court, this team looked completely lost against Washington. We're talking about an 83-77 disaster that showed exactly how much this franchise depends on one player. Sydney Coulson couldn't handle the pressure, scoring just 4 points while turning the ball over 3 times. The offense scored 0 fast break points. 0. This wasn't just a loss, it was a complete system failure that has Fever fans questioning everything about this team's future, with some even calling for Coach Stephanie White to be fired. If you can't wait for Caitlin to get back, comment get well soon CC down below. Let's go.
This was a absolute embarrassment. An embarrassing performance from the Indiana Fever.
Picture this, you're watching the Fever's first possession without Clark, and Sydney Coulson immediately turns the ball over. That's exactly how this nightmare started. Coulson was supposed to be the answer at point guard, stepping into Clark's massive shoes for at least 2 weeks while the superstar recovers from her injury. Everyone expected her to at least keep the ship afloat.
Sydney Coulson started at point guard, stabbed me in the eye with a dull spoon. Literally scoop out my eyeball and just throw it. I mean, it'd be less painful than having to watch this.
Instead of rising to the occasion, Coulson delivered one of the most painful performances you'll see from a starting point guard. We're talking about a complete meltdown on the biggest stage. 4 points on 2 for 7 shooting tells only part of the story. The real damage came from her 3 turnovers and 5 fouls in 31 minutes of playing time. This wasn't just struggling, this was falling apart when the team needed leadership most.
Aaliyah Boston played less minutes than Sydney Coulson. Aaliyah Boston played less minutes than Sydney Coulson. Aaliyah Boston, MVP candidate up to this point, OW candidate Aaliyah Boston, played less minutes than comedian, full-time comedian, part-time basketball player Sydney Coulson.
Fans were literally calling for her to be pulled from the game as early as the second quarter. Social media exploded with brutal criticism. One fan perfectly captured the mood, saying, "I wanted to tell Sydney Coulson to leave the basketball before the basketball leaves her, but it's too late. The basketball has already left her." That's how bad things got out there.
Sid Coulson is the worst point guard I have ever seen in the WNBA. And I've watched Julie Van Loo play bad games. And if you guys have ever seen Julie Van, heard about or watched Julie Van Loo in a bad game, it can get like painful to watch.
The offense looked completely lost every time Coulson tried to run a play. Teammates were just standing around, waiting for anything, to happen. The ball movement that usually flows through the Fever's offense simply disappeared. Players couldn't get into their spots because the point guard couldn't get them the ball where they needed it.
I mean, this offense looked awful, and Sydney Coulson, my God, is terrible running point guard on this team. Terrible.
Compare this to Clark's usual 19 points and nearly 10 assists per game, and you start to see the massive gap the Fever are dealing with. Clark doesn't just score, she makes everyone around her better. She creates easy shots for her teammates. Coulson couldn't do any of that against Washington.
Sydney Coulson, definitely not a backup point guard for this team. Now, the Indiana Fever, with Caitlin Clark, against the Atlanta Dream, scored 12 points in a quarter. The Indiana Fever, with Caitlin Clark, scored 13 points in a quarter. The Indiana Fever, without Caitlin Clark, have back-to-back quarters scoring 17 points in one and 13 points in another.
Social media exploded with Fever fans questioning why Stephanie White didn't have a better backup plan ready. They knew Clark's injury was coming and had time to prepare, yet this was the best option they could come up with. Fans were absolutely furious about the lack of preparation. Coulson's struggles exposed the harsh reality. The Fever have zero depth at the most important position on the court. When your starting point guard goes down, you need someone who can at least run basic plays, someone who won't turn the ball over 3 times in crucial moments. The Fever clearly don't have that person.
What about Sydney Coulson's game today made you feel like, oh, okay, Sydney Coulson can ball up? That was a good signing. Did she give energy that you guys looked at and said, oh, this is reassuring? No. Did she make plays that you guys saw and said, oh, this is reassuring? No. What about the game plan today made you feel like this team was ready at all? If there was a game plan at all, what about it made you feel like this team was ready at all?
This performance raised serious questions about whether the team can survive even one game without their superstar, let alone 2 weeks. If this is what the Fever look like without Clark, the next couple of weeks are going to be absolutely brutal for the franchise. Here is a number that will make your stomach drop. 0 fast break points for the entire game. That's right, 0. The Fever's offense usually runs through Clark's incredible court vision and pace, pushing the team to easy transition buckets that keep them competitive. Without her, the team managed just 77 points while shooting a season-low 23.8% from three-point range.
They had 0 fast break points. 0 fast break points on the game. 0. 0 fast break points. I don't care what this score ends up.
The ball movement completely disappeared. The Fever only managed 15 assists compared to their usual 22 per game average. A massive drop that shows just how much this offense relies on Clark to make things happen. When your primary playmaker goes down, everything else falls apart. Players couldn't find each other, open shots became contested, and easy baskets turned into forced attempts.
Kelsey Mitchell, when she just goes, meet, dribble, do something dumb, she goes 4 for 16 from the field. 4 for 16. 4 assists. The team had 21 turnovers. Is it 21 turnovers? Or is it 19? It was in 19. I can't remember if it was 1 over 20 or 1 under 20. So there's more than 17 turnovers. They had 17 and they turned the ball over twice. Either way, they have set the record for most turnovers in a game this season for them. They had more turnovers than when Caitlin Clark had 10 herself.
Kelsey Mitchell should have stepped up as the primary scorer. Instead, she went 4 for 16 from the field for just 14 points. Mitchell is supposed to be the second option on this team, someone who takes over when Clark is out, but she couldn't get good looks or consistently create her own shot. The offense just wasn't designed to run through her the way it runs through Clark.
Aaliyah Boston shot the ball 5 times. Aaliyah shot it 5 times. Sid Colson shot the ball 7 times. She shot it 7 times. Like,
if I told you that we had a team with 2 clear future Hall of Famers on it, along with 2 All-Stars, Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, would you think that we would be able to at least beat the Washington Mystics? No. Would you think that we would be able to at least look like a team against the Washington Mystics? The amount of hero ball, the amount of isolation ball was absurd tonight. This looked like a pickup team tonight. And it begs the question, what do we do in practice? Seriously. They looked like they picked teams before coming to the game and they just went out there and tried to play the best they can. If I can even say the best they can. I didn't really see any fire from anybody. I didn't really see any energy from anybody. Yeah, Lexi Hull had a couple plays where she does the Lexi Hull thing. But I'm tired of seeing the supposed leader of this team, the head coach, on the sidelines like this with her arms crossed the whole entire time, not looking like she gives a damn. I'm not cool with that, folks.
Stephanie White is getting destroyed today. Ken Swift posted this, a picture of what's supposed to be Christy's side.
Like, they were embarrassingly bad without Caitlin Clark. They were just embarrassingly bad. And I mean this. A good coach will figure something out. A good coach will figure something out. Does this team play defense? No. No. I mean this. This team doesn't play defense. They've just gotten lucky. Teams miss shots. They've gotten lucky. Teams miss shots. They don't play defense. They still don't play defense. I know they held the Mystics 83 points. This was a Mystics team who were not shooting well. They don't play defense. They don't defensive rebound. They don't put in any effort. And that's on coach. That is on the coach. I'm sorry. There is no way you can have 0 fast break points a team unless you are actively trying to not run. Unless you are trying to not run. You cannot have 0 fast break points as a team. Someone just said it, no defense, no offense, no fight. Outside of Lexi Hull and Aaliyah, or not even, I can't even blame Aaliyah Boston. She didn't touch the ball.
On a side note, by the way, 14,000 seats, 3,000 people didn't show up last night. 3,000 people didn't show up. during a game that would have been sold out. Sold out, and by the way, at elevated ticket prices. They're going to take a massive black eye during all this. Stephanie White, I don't know. Sydney Colson is a terrible idea. Quit doing it. And by the way, just while we're at it, I posted this morning, and you know, people thought I was crazy last year. Mark Jackson's looking awfully good right about now, is he not? Me banging the drum to hire Mark Jackson as the Indiana Fever coach looks pretty good. He had experience working with Steph Curry, ties to Indiana having played there, no nonsense proven leader at a high level with big boys.
It's awful. This is awful. Like, Kelsey Mitchell went 2 of 7 threes. She was 4 of 16. She couldn't get an easy shot. She couldn't get an easy shot. Natasha Howard went 5 of 10 on really tough shots. Like, Natasha Howard went 5 of 10, and every single shot she took was a tough shot. And I have to give Natasha Howard credit because she made some tough shots. She made some tough shots. But nothing else went well for this team. There is no way that any competent coach plays Sydney Colson this many minutes. Like, there's no way. There's no way a competent coach plays Sydney Colson more minutes than Aaliyah Boston. It doesn't, like, it's just not a thing. This team plays worse offense than what Christie sides. Their motion offense is give the ball to the wing, 4 players stand around and is like, what are we meant to do? What are we meant to do? What are we meant to do? And then eventually the ball probably gets turned over. Do they believe in the pick and roll? No. Do they believe in dumping the ball into the post? It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it unless it's Natasha Howard. Did anything change? Aaliyah Boston shot the ball 5 times. She's averaging, on the season before this game, Aaliyah Boston's averaging 18.5 points per game. She shot the ball 5 times. She shot the ball less than Sid Colson. With Stephanie White, she's saying what the fans want to hear and then doing what Christie Sides did. She's doing what Christie Sides did. And by the way, this Indiana Fever team are not good on defense. They just play slow. Can we be honest? It is much easier. It is so much easier to have a good defensive rating if you play slow so teams can't run. Teams can't run. This team is not good on defense. They just play slow. This was embarrassing. This was embarrassing. And how much grace are we going to give to a coach because the coach says, we're working things out for the rest of the season. We're trying to figure out our identity. Do you want to know what your identity is? You shouldn't need to figure out your identity. You have Caitlin effing Clark on your team. You spent the whole time saying Caitlin Clark injured will help us find our identity. You have Caitlin Clark on your team. Do you want to know what you should try to do? And I understand you cannot play Caitlin Clark ball without Caitlin Clark. At least run. Put in some effort. Run. Don't try to grind a team down and win a game in the 70s. Because when Caitlin Clark comes back, you're not going to be able to do that. You have spent this whole season talking about needing to figure out the team's identity when you are coaching Caitlin Clark. You are coaching Caitlin Clark.